What's up?
That's a great intro, but we're leaving it in.
Hey everybody! Hey Jerel, how are you, my friend?
Hey, hey, hey. I'm good. I'm
Hey,
good.
it's
Ethan, how are you?
post sermon chat.
Yes, I know it.
You doing good?
I am. Yeah, I'm
Are
doing.
you getting fresh air? Are your children feeding you? Are they letting you out of the house?
I actually had to jump outside and mow the grass real quick because I put it off all weekend, and then I realized it's going to rain like crazy this week.
Yeah,
So yeah, I
I put
did.
on a clean
Fresh air.
shirt. It's my first time in maybe 3 weeks of wearing a clean. Well, actually, you know what? The last time I wore a clean shirt was when we
When
did
you
this
did the
last
mow.
week. We did this last week, and I put on a clean shirt.
That's a major accomplishment. Did you take a shower too, or just put on a clean shirt?
No. My hair always seems to look better when it's dirty, so I'm just going to roll with that.
You say so.
Hey, you did a great job on part 2 of our series called David, an Unlikely Hero.
Thank you.
And I mean, this is one of my favorite talks of yours because you opened up the scene talking about envy a little bit, but you talked about being envious of some cars.
Yeah.
So my question is, Jerel Law, what is your dream car?
That's going to take longer to answer than we have right now. That's a hard question. Like a dream car is in like, this is just my fun car that I get to go drive every once in a while, or something. It's like my daily driver that I have to take my family around in, or what?
Your family is grown. They don't have like car seats.
Luke still does, actually.
That's true. He's 6'2" and has a car seat.
It's a big car seat. We're overprotective with him.
I'll put up a picture of my dream car.
I do like a Bronco. I do like an old convertible Bronco. Yeah.
Look at that Bronco right there.
Yeah. I mean, that's awesome.
It's pretty cool.
It's nice. What year is that?
Jay Simpson like, but
It was
like
late 80s.
I think it's late 80s. Yeah.
It would be like a 70 something, like a Bronco in the 70s with the top off.
Ooh, you used to own a Land Cruiser, right?
I did. For about a week. I was in a different message.
Well, my next question is not really a question, but more of a statement. So you talk about best friends, David and Jonathan. Much like us, they're best friends.
It's true.
Not a question. Just I wanted to put that out there to the public that we are best friends, and I wanted you to confirm that on live television.
I cannot confirm that because you say that to everybody that you know.
I do not.
So it's so cheap for you. I think it's like the whole best friend thing is just cheap. It's cheapened for you.
No, it's the true best friend is Jerel Law.
I'm not even going to respond to that.
I'll prove to you that I'm being real. All right, so this is a serious question. You say in your talk, the opposite of envy is gratefulness. And so in thinking through Saul's reaction to everything he was faced with during this time of his life, what should have Saul been grateful for? It seemed like he was the king, and I feel like if I was a king, I would be grateful for a lot of things.
There's a lot at your fingertips. I'm assuming when you're king, you have riches, you have the whole kingdom, you have all these people at your command, you have power, you have authority, you have people that are around you that are doing things for you. I mean, there's so much. And so Saul, and we didn't really touch on that much in the talk, I mean, honestly, but Saul just he could have been so different. He could have approached life like, I am grateful for what God's given me. This has all come from him. And so I'm going to lead out of that. And instead, he gets to something that so many of us, including me, including you, and I mean, we just struggle with when it comes to envy, which is that what envy does is it points out our insecurity. Like it points out my own insecurity in the things that I have or don't have, and in my my closest relationships. That it can point out insecurity there. It can even point out insecurity in my own relationship with God. And so when that happens, when I feel insecure in those places, the natural tendency is to start to look elsewhere. Like I'm just looking at other people. I'm looking at other things. It's easy to talk about. I'm envious of a car, right? So if I don't have what I think I want or think I should have, or, what will make me look better in front of that, like I want that other car. But I think for Saul, there's a lot of choices he could have made to do that differently. And truthfully, like, I think a lot of us find ourselves in him a little bit in that. I mean, I do with he's just looking at David and going, I don't have what he has. I have everything else, but I don't have what he has. And so I'm really jealous of that. And it drove him to the grave. And it literally drove Saul into the ground, where he ended up killing himself.
Yeah.
Because he was so enraged with envy over David and what God had chosen to give David instead of Saul. And so gratefulness is that piece where it's like, it's a strategy. I mean, gratefulness is a strategy that will allow me to refocus my heart, like repoint my heart away from the things I don't have and towards the things I do.
Yeah.
Which is easy to say, right?
Yes.
I mean,
yes,
but harder to do.
Well, I love that. And as you were talking, I'm thinking, we're talking about cars and stuff like that. The things that I think about and I'm envious of, it kind of changes from week to week. I have these waves of, I don't care what kind of car I drive. Like, it doesn't matter. It just gets me from point A to point B, or I don't really care about comparing my house to another person's house or whatever. But then it's like all of a sudden, I get hit with that feeling again of it being envious of someone. And I think that it's not, I don't know if I could be wrong, but I don't know if it's a natural tendency for anyone to view everything in their life with this like sense of gratefulness. Like, I think it seems to be this, you talk about practicing gratefulness and almost using it as a strategy. So almost like a muscle that we have to flex a little bit and work on. So my next question, Jerel, is why are most people, including us, threatened by the world around us? It seems like Saul was threatened by everything David did, everything that was happening to David. Why are we? Is it just that we are super insecure, or what's going on with us that we seem so threatened by the good things that we should be celebrating for our friends or our coworkers or our neighbors? It kind of enrages us.
Yeah. I just think if you're really trying to boil it down, it comes to this point of security in my relationship with God. Like it's got to start there. It's got to start from a place of, if I'm going to be grateful, I've got to get to a point where I let go of the things I don't have, and I let go of who I'm not, and I receive who I am. And that's only possible when we're connected with the God who loves us, and we begin to dig into who he is and begin to dig in really to the scriptures and to his word, which is telling us all the time how valuable we are in his eyes, how he's created us uniquely, how much he loves us, how much he has planned for us, and that we're not to worry about other things. We're not to worry even about tomorrow and what it brings. We're provided for. We're, over and over and over again, God says all these things that he's doing for us. He's doing for us, and then we somehow choose to put all that on another table somewhere and just focus on the things we don't have. And so for me, when I find myself straying away from the things I've been given, it's really important for me to refocus and kind of go, okay, God, I'm going to pray. I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to trust you in my relationship. I'm going to sit with you and realize that if everything else, if I don't have any of this other stuff, it's okay.
Yeah.
And when I get to that point, there's freedom in that, right? Like, there's great freedom in saying, hey, God, it's you and me, and then if you choose to bring some other things into my life, I'm going to be grateful for those. And I'm also going to be grateful, like, what have you given me? Like, let's start with the fact that I can breathe, and like, let's start with the fact that I have amazing people in my life. I have amazing family, incredible friends. I have, I'm sitting inside a house right now that feels nice. It's good temperature. I'm not outside. I'm like, and I have a purpose and that God provides for us in so many different ways. Yeah. And in some ways, envy is like, it's a slap in his face. It's like, I don't really trust you for what you've given me. I don't care about it enough. So I'm going to want something else, when God's saying, I've given you everything that I think you need right now.
Yeah. I know envy has been around for years and years, but it almost seems to me like
it just started in like the late 80s.
It started like last week. Last week. But I do wonder, Jerel, and I'd love to hear what you think, if it's been elevated due to social media. I know like 10 years ago, I could not pull up a picture of the Bronco that I love. You know what I'm saying? So almost in my mind, I would have to see that on the street. And now I'm sitting on my couch thinking, and I'm going through my Instagram, well, I don't have muscles like him. I don't have a house like them. My kids don't. And the reality is most of the things that we're seeing aren't real. And so do you think that social media and us scrolling through these picture perfect things almost creates a new level of envy in us?
I think it just reveals what's already there. I think it's already there, and it certainly gives us another. It's like one more avenue for being envious, and it's the whole thing of everybody. We compare our our daily to everybody else's highlight reel.
Yeah.
And that idea is like Instagram is perfect for that, or social media is like the perfect example of how we do that, because everybody puts up the great pictures and not the bad pictures. And so then I'm sitting there going, well, I wish I had that. I mean, social media is not. It seems like it's less and less about, hey, great job, I'm so happy for you, and it's a lot more about feeding my own insecurities. And so I think it would do all of us
a hero of our own story for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it'd do all of us well to just take some some breaks from it, like to put it aside, to set it down, and because then we can kind of slow down and say to God, hey, okay, I'm going to slow down and listen to you more than I listen to social media.
Yeah.
It's a great question, right? And the very convicting question, am I listening to my Instagram feed more, or am I listening to God more?
Absolutely.
I mean, that'll rock your world, if you think through that and if you're honest.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you talk about, speaking of eliminating envy, you talk about some practical tips on some ways to kind of eliminate envy and to practice, being thankful, being grateful. So I wanted to ask you, what works best for you? Like, obviously you're not perfect, and you have to have a strategy behind being grateful. So what works best for you in this process?
Yeah, and I'll just kind of close out with this. I mean, when I am able to, like, I not every day, but I journal. I've got a journal that I write in, and what helps me is to get specific with the things like that I thank God for. Like, okay, here's what I'm thanking God for today, and to actually write it down. And then kind of just the other thing is just kind of what I said earlier. Like, I need to be able to prioritize in some ways my own time with God, my own relationship with Him. And when I do that, it sets everything else in place. It might be the envy just tends to start to go away, to seep away. And when I know, okay, I'm in a good place with God, everything else can flow from there. When we don't do that, I think we're spinning out of control. We don't have anything to stand on. We're just kind of flailing around and in our own insecurity. And God's the one saying, hey, I'm your security, right? Like God wants to say that to us. He is saying that to us. He's offering that to us. And when we grab a hold of it, I think that's when amazing things can happen in our lives. And by the way, when we can be really good friends to people, like when we can be really encouraging to other people, because we're not tied into, I can honestly celebrate the fact that you got a Bronco for your birthday,
There you hear it. There you have it, Emily Pope.
Do you hear that, Emily Pope? As opposed to
30, I'm turning 30 soon. It's a perfect 30-year-old birthday present.
And isn't that a key tell for us, whether we're being envious or not, is if we can celebrate other people's accomplishments around us.
Absolutely.
And really do it instead of going, man, but
Well, the opposite's true. Like I can tell when I am being envious when I'm not celebrating, but not only not celebrating, I'm almost wanting people to fail. Mm-hmm. My own friends that I love dearly, I'm like, oh, I can't believe that they did that. I wish they would fall down. I wish they would not get that promotion. I wish they would whatever, And that is, you look in the mirror and you're like, I love this person, or supposedly love this person. Why am I doing this? And then, like you're saying, it's just a window back into my own insecurities.
Yeah, there's a lot there, but I think, like we said, gratefulness is a great strategy for overcoming envy and refocusing my heart on the right things.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, on behalf of everyone, I'm grateful for you in this talk, because I think this is something that the entire world deals with, And it's a good reminder that we have a lot to be grateful and thankful for. And so I'm thankful for you and the message you brought this week.
Thanks, brother.
Thank you, sir. Well, I'll see you on the next episode.
Absolutely.
Our show.
See you next week.
See you, man.